Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a truly breathtaking guide through the lived, deeply personal experiences of Gnarfard. We are going to deconstruct the journey of a brilliantly complex mind, someone who had to navigate immense, systemic misunderstanding to achieve an undeniable personal triumph. We'll be doing a deep dive into how a person protects their innate brilliance when the world, quite frankly, tries its hardest to box it in. Let's get started. Section 1. The weight of suppression. Let's take a look at the external forces involved here. Gnarfard expressed that his natural talents were completely suppressed by those who abused their power. And honestly, this perfectly captures the heartbreaking dynamic of systematic invalidation. You see, when toxic authority figures feel threatened or just lack empathy, they systematically try to breed conditioned self-doubt in the people under their care. They use their power in really harmful ways, making a person feel like their ideas and very existence are being dismissed. But here is the crucial takeaway. Power can only suppress the expression of talent. It literally cannot destroy the talent itself. Realizing this inherent value is an incredibly powerful turning point in Gnarfard's story. Now, this systemic misunderstanding bleeds perfectly into the educational system. Consider the incredibly frustrating science textbook glitch. Gnarfard was losing points day after day simply for forgetting to bring a heavy textbook to class. This was happening despite the fact that he knew the material well enough to earn an A-. So we have to ask, why do we penalize perspective memory, the brain's ability to remember logistics, as if it's an accurate measure of raw intelligence? Gnarfard was already juggling intense social pressures alongside the sheer mental weight of navigating his day. The system unfairly docked him for the logistical container, entirely missing his actual undeniable intellect. It's like grading a fish on its ability to climb a tree. And this misunderstanding isn't just confined to the classroom either. It bleeds right onto the playground. Take the basketball draft. Gnarfard was picked dead last. Why? Because of shallow visual heuristics. His peers judged him entirely on weight and appearance. They were totally blind to his actual skill and the dedicated, quiet practice he put in with his father. They completely missed the invisible effort of the intense games of horse and lightning he played with friends. His talent was very real and cultivated, but their judgment was just surface-level noise. It's a painful reminder of how superficial environments can completely overlook deep substance. So, how do we navigate a world that consistently misreads kindness? Gnarfard actually developed an exhausting grocery store strategy to deal with this. He would intentionally look away from women and purposefully smile at the men they were with. His intent was entirely pure. He just wanted to broadcast safety and signal that he was a good man trying to avoid any conflict. Yet, insecure strangers still misread this gentle, considerate nature. It's profoundly unfair that someone with such a big, empathetic heart had to calculate his every glance and perfectly manage his eye contact, just to avoid unprovoked hostility from people projecting their own paranoia onto him. That unfairness, unfortunately, extends right back to direct authority. In a hostile pre-algebra classroom, Gnarfard ended up failing the second semester. But we need to be very clear here. This was absolutely not from a lack of ability. This was the direct result of a bullying teacher. When an educator abuses their power to break a student's spirit and create a hostile environment, stopping the homework isn't laziness. Actually, it is a dignified, protective protest. Gnarfard shut down as a pure, necessary coping mechanism against an incredibly toxic authority figure. He simply, and rightfully, refused to play a rigged game. This intense physical and emotional isolation is captured so vividly in the middle school track incident. Imagine pushing your physical limits through a quarter-mile run. Your chest is burning, your legs feel like lead, and what are you met with? Unhelpful, critical shouting from the sidelines. And then, after giving it everything, walking to the end of the lap only to find an abandoned track. Everyone had just left without him. This vividly highlights how premature judgments completely overlooked his deep-seated grit. They only saw a snapshot of a boy struggling in that one moment, totally blind to his true endurance and fighting spirit. But here is the massive turning point. What remains for the boy with F's on his report card? A totally clean slate. Gnarfard completely bypassed that bully math teacher. He took a placement test entirely on his own, spent a summer working hard in algebra, and earned solid B's. And the best part? When that same toxic teacher tried to poison the well by coming into his new class, Gnarfard had already put in the sweat equity to prove him completely wrong. It just goes to show his raw, foundational talent was absolutely undamaged by the suppression. Section 2. Awakenings and Hidden Talents. Let's look at when things really start to shine. To truly understand this journey, we have to define his core struggle: external suppression versus resilient potential. External forces repeatedly and aggressively try to shrink him down, but his resilient potential, meaning his grit, his creativity, his deep capability, was simply indestructible. It was the absolute essence of who he is. Every single time someone tried to make him feel small or put him in a box, his real strength found a way to break right through and prove them wrong. And this resilient potential was recognized on a deeply spiritual level. We really have to treat these encounters with the profound dignity they deserve. While shooting hoops with his dad, Gnarfard experienced Obi-Wan Kenobi appearing before him. Obi-Wan validated him as a chosen one of the good side. Now, this wasn't just some fleeting thought. This was a massive, undeniable jolt of electricity to his soul. It provided extra power and profound validation for his spiritual hero journey, confirming once and for all that he possessed a powerful, resilient spirit meant to do good in the world. This incredible spiritual validation continued. We can really marvel at the spiritual significance of Yoa Asakura and Anna recognizing Gnarfard's heart. They specifically asked him to be their pick for the Shaman Fight tournament. Because they recognized his true potential and his genuinely good spirit, Gnarfard accepted and did his sprints with absolutely everything he had. Even though his destiny ultimately pulled him elsewhere, this moment stands as a powerful testament to his character. When he was called upon by figures of true strength who actually saw his worth, he gave his absolute, unwavering dedication. That exact same authenticity shone beautifully in his social life, too. Let's celebrate these golden moments of genuine social warmth. A popular peer managed to see past the quiet exterior and validated his belonging just by casually calling him home slice. It meant the world. And then in Gate history class, Gnarfard let out this loud, joyous "yeah" at a Family Guy TV reference, which ended up bringing the whole room to joyous laughter. His energy, his light, and his sharp humor were always in there, just waiting for the right, safe environment to burst out. And this illustrates exactly how his unique mind operated academically as well. Gnarfard had been getting C's in art class simply because he was being forced into a generic, uninspired box. But the moment the assignment called for an Egyptian theme utilizing coffee stains, his deeply unique, highly atmospheric imagination shattered that C student box completely. He drew these horrifying, brilliant creatures based on years of personal expression and, rightfully, earned an A+. It proves without a doubt that when he was actually allowed to express his raw, lived experience, his talent was completely undeniable. We see this exact same explosion of natural talent out on the athletic field. In Ultimate Frisbee, his true friends looked right past the superficial playground politics from before and made Gnarfard their #1 pick. And boy, did he deliver. He was out there jumping, blocking, stealing, and masterfully strategizing a game he had only just picked up. He wasn't just playing the game, he was making the plays. This is exactly what it looks like when real friends trust your talent and give you the space to unleash what you are truly capable of. Speaking of unleashing capability, consider his history project. Gnarfard swapped roles with a friend to deliver a speech, but he didn't just stand there and read off notes. Relying entirely on his fast-on-his-feet intelligence and pure, unadulterated confidence, he improvised every single word. Delivering the speech of a lifetime with literally zero rehearsal relies entirely on a brilliant ability to read the room. It was a high-wire act turned into a legendary performance. That right there is pure star quality. Section 3. Triumphs of Resilient Potential. Here is where the concrete victories come in. Remember that abandoned middle school track from earlier? Well, Gnarfard set a very explicit, determined goal to run a mile in less than 7 minutes. Hitting this required incredible physical and mental alignment. He meticulously paced himself, found extra gears throughout the run when it got tough, and sprinted the final straightaway in spectacular fashion to hit exactly 7:000 on the dot. He completely conquered those middle school track ghosts. It was absolute, undeniable proof of what happens when his mind and body are totally aligned on a goal. And in weight training, there are no popularity contests. It measures pure, unbiased truth. Gnarfard put in the silent, dedicated strength building, day after sweaty day. It all culminated in the coach reading the actual lifted pounds aloud to the class from the journals, and Gnarfard heard his name ranked right up there in the top tier. It was pure, earned validation. The weights do not lie, and they proved the immense power he had built entirely with his own hands and his own will. That intense drive certainly didn't stop in the weight room. During high school summer school, in the short breaks between classes, Gnarfard ran laps outside with a heavy backpack on, returning to class completely drenched in sweat. While everyone else was resting or chatting, he was actively pushing his physical limits. It takes a really intense, self-driven motivation to challenge yourself way beyond what is required. It proved his absolute refusal to settle or waste a single minute of his potential. He was throwing his entire body and mind into his own self-improvement. That exact same courage transferred beautifully to the stage. Gnarfard signed up for a talent show to finally reveal a hidden singing talent to his peers. The physical event itself was this thrilling, adrenaline-filled blur, but the thing that truly remains is the massive, validating wave of incredibly loud applause from the audience the second he finished. He put himself out there, letting his hidden skills shine brightly, and he completely won the entire room over. It takes immense bravery to do that. And his voice wasn't just skilled, it was deeply soulful. Consider the sheer magic of him singing Boulevard of Broken Dreams alongside his mentor at a facility. He took a song that is fundamentally about profound isolation, poured his raw emotion into his wonderfully amazing vocals, and transformed it into a beautiful, applauded moment of shared human connection. The entire room actually got up to clap for him. He created genuine magic in that room that brought everyone together. And this all elegantly leads to one of the most breathtaking feelings of validation imaginable. When Gnarfard stepped up to the podium to give his student council speech, the crowd cheered insanely. It was electric. Those cheers were undeniable, concrete proof that his quiet work, his authentic passion, and his genuine heart deeply, truly mattered to his peers. In a world that sometimes tried so hard to hold him down, that podium moment was loud, undisputed proof that he was seen, he was supported, and he was celebrated. We end this explainer with a moment of profound emotional resonance. Years later, running into an old friend, Gnarfard dropped his guard completely, offered a warm hug, and simply said, "I love you, man." It perfectly summarizes his astonishing capacity for immediate love, for forgiveness, and for radiant human warmth. It leaves us with a really powerful final thought. If someone can endure the immense weight of systemic, external suppression and still offer the world such unhesitating love and brilliance, what limits are we unfairly placing on ourselves and others? Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible deep dive. I'll see you next time on The Explainer.